Keeping with the summer theme, this is from a little chapbook of mine called "For I Know Not What I Did Last Summer." I did not lend my learning to the increase of possible loves. It's what it is. I'm pretty sure I got away with it. But let's just leave it open and not bring sharp things into bed, what with the fragile paper torso both of us imagine that we spoon. We were a twist in space. Now we're pulled out into line again, a reclaimed biomass that finance shunts and buffets through the cells and columns summed as general equivalent for the social wage. The poem gets at this as model, but the body also plays its mimic role, step by step by step. We left ourselves someplace we knew we would forget, scuttled in the shallows of an estuary. There, a service class exhales carbon into you. It becomes you, as one says upon the full-length twirl, through the medium of plastic straws. When I arrive, I bring a picture frame along in hope of images to make this crud a little more like flesh. The now is bearing down on us, so you can drop me here. High and dry, the stabbed-out eye is acting on the cheap seat's void. Dust was how we knew we blew it, in pursuit down pitted streets, unto the limit of these constants. I build you as a wall, as which the flayed heart hears, your belonging now belongs to me. The grammar's less for sure than all this wishing, sinking in the mud, curled up around the customary stone as I goes down to me, a child actor for the bit parts outside of which the edges thin and the metabolism zips fantasy up the one-way timeline, much like credit. Bossy jargons fall down on all our heads, just this once, the which we're all in hock to. Heat builds up while walking, and nobody but the big shots takes a seat. The rest of you get described in lab conditions till you raise a flag of maximum demand. Continuous milky waves of light, not the stingy drips of armistice. But still they prod the devil with their long hooked poles. Let out the seam on certainties that they are us, or launch the recon drone. No law there, hands behind our backs forgot the newsprint didn't fit the body's form. An empire then would be each separate pebble pelting us. I did not invest with prudence and confidence. Leave my zip cuffs out of this, you bastards of compassionate detachment, stringing shock boundaries around my desk. Tell me never to return. Short of growing fur and fangs, I've lost this game. Can't hack it looking at the calendar to rip off someone else's mental tick that you might deny historians crawling out of you. Nobody taught them how. It just felt real. All the rusted little cogs and springs of a 20-year bid for lifting M&Ms consistently prop the door ajar despite the out-to-lunch sign in a narrow space of lonely gumption where the new facade is maybe built to spec or writes the saga of these bonds and mining shares. You can climb back down the way you came while science mutters in the dark on the upper floors. No one's watching. You're not my dad, and I didn't walk the sidewalk. Call it powerlessness, yours by deed of gift to sweeten sale of the brain to a shady, half-legal blind trust. The end of that line could be plural. Not that you would notice even single organs prepped for harvest. Forward onto the express tracks, perception slips outside. The glide, the gloss, the gliss veiled what we knew were not trade secrets, but redacted anyhow, obscured beneath the pure indifferent option of an arbitrary need to join a concept, an amuse-bouche of superior laughs, to the time thief's sharper ear. Immersions where we find that all of us fall short of baptism, falling in the easement's muck. For this, which tools? Rake and hoe in the community shed, or data functions of the on-site call center? Your options are vocational ed or the peerless fantasy of structural blaze. Tech day ain't tomato beds and compost bins. Decomposition takes in more than vague smells in the stairwell, and at last you float free there. The dance treads on the theory's marge. Exit the hero from the heroic. Describe what isn't there. Their piled up foodstuffs were the sole excuse they gave for the shapelessness of each one's treasure and the unused rolls of chain link. The method's a mystery for the elect we bypass when we become the cops. Bodies break from their lights and livers less than effluent. The liability when you stood there was that reflection could erase the anesthetic contour from the blunder and the profit-taking, and at last stand in for levitation and the winged foot, clipped and glued down on a new page. Dinner in that isolation tank was income, not a wage. The spirit's something else delinked from revenant's dumb persistence and archaic torso. Cottage industry without a cottage assumes the single file scraped by in the dark of punitive electric shutoffs. And always the ledger saturated actions, grabbed and was grabbed from the automated motion of the switch. Gross idealities slipped from resolution of the sweated no-talk line, stranded in homeopathy. Immersion returned eternal to the gastronomics of atomic rain. Cognates of those hair and toenail clippings bar the stock response to what the matter was, the body in production as anarchic trunk. They'll maybe catch the drift, maybe not, but that tangent blew us like ceramic insulators. Some will have lent themselves blank tapes, others the complete edition or the box set. The archive dissolves into a damp, wriggling mass of phalloy, an event, even when the duty nurse is occupied, that fades back out of comradeship until a vague but singular crystal forms in the precipitate as all that's left. Your memo covered policy along those dry fronteras, liquid assets boiled to salt, parasitic interest in and from the working mass. What's sublime about the singular gets slick as pig shit, smeared across whole neighborhoods. Scatology, companionship, and chastity were your sad fizzles, your last gasps. It's phrenology, not empathy, and never simply yours. As the semantic body blow the landlords just keep flushing till it goes away is also not. Eye-wateringly bright behind the bank's plate glass, the eclipse lifts. Money comes flooding back to us. A greenwood thickens all along the front. Conclusion, nothing in that drawer, our salutary vigilance aside. They'll say it's numbness when the upstairs neighbors descend upon our heads, inaudible when we've heard it said before. But all this talking over the conceptual hum, it burns. Oh God, it burns.